Hello everyone. Today we'll be bringing you a review of the Pentel WOW retractable ballpoint pen, medium point, 1.0 millimeters in blue ink. Now let's take a look. You can see this pen has a transparent triangular ergonomic barrel, has a soft latex-free grip with kind of these little divots, two on each side, just the front two sides where your fingers would touch for extra grip, which does feel very comfortable in your hand. It's a little different than a traditional retractable pen. It has the top button which you push in to advance the tip, but then to retract it, there's a button on the side here, labeled push, very obviously. Push that to retract it. That is a neat little feature of the pen, but quite honestly somewhat unnecessary. There's no reason really why they can't just have this one button to both advance and retract the tip. And to be quite honest, it feels like a little cheap. It almost feels like as it just has this little tiny tab here, which goes in, and then when you push the button in, the tab pushes down, and then goes into this other position. So I get the feeling that it would be a little bit easy to break. So I don't really see the point in the push button other than it's a little bit of a novelty for the pen, just to kind of make it stand out from the crowd a little bit. Also has a clip here. Also feels a little bit cheap. The point where it joins on here to the barrel is a little bit thin, and it doesn't have too much stretch to it. But because it's made of plastic, it feels a little bit brittle, so I wouldn't be surprised if this would break off fairly easily. The pen is non-refillable, so it's only disposable. Once you're done with this, you have to discard it. So let's see how it writes. It does write very smooth. For it being just a ballpoint pen, we get very consistent, skip-free and blob-free lines. The ink on the paper is fairly dark. It feels very good in your hand. The soft grip combined with the ergonomic barrel really does produce no strain whatsoever. Feels like you could write for this for a very long period of time without any strain at all. I like the way the lines came out. They look like they're coming from a much more expensive pen. They're darker than you'd expect for a typical ballpoint pen, and they're very consistent, which is a good feature for a pen that's fairly low cost. Let's see how it does with smearing. One second. 2 seconds. 3. 4. And 5. So as you can see, from 1 to 3 seconds we're going to get a little bit of smearing. From 4 on, little to none. I should mention the smearing that we do get tends to happen, you can't really notice it, but the ink does come out a little bit thicker on like the top of a curve and things like that. So where we're getting the smearing is where the ink tends to come out a little bit thicker. I wouldn't quite call it blobbing, but it is, I guess, a slight increase in the ink because as you're turning the pen around, and that's where you'll get a little bit of smearing within the first few seconds. But it's very minimal, and it really does not take much away from the pen. So let's see how we did with some writing beforehand. We'll notice much of the same. I really do like the consistency of the pen, the fact that it's almost 100% skip-free, little to no blobbing, and I guess the most unexpected thing with the pen would be how the lines come out onto the paper. They're not the most vivid, dark, bold lines you'd see from any pen, but considering it's just a disposable ballpoint pen, they're darker and they're more vivid than you would have expected, which is a pleasant surprise. The smear test, more the same. 1 to 2 seconds we got a good bit of smearing, but again, that was because a little bit more ink came out, like right around the top of the curve. From 3 on we got little to none. So it doesn't really, we're not talking too much smearing here. Only if you kind of pressed down a little hard, went around the curve, got a little bit more ink out, and then touched it immediately would you get any smearing at all. In just everyday writing, I essentially got no smearing, so it's not something that you're really going to have to worry about, and it's not anything that really, I wouldn't say, is a downside to the pen at all. So overall, we have a very solid performing ballpoint pen. It's a little unique, I guess you could say, in styling and some design cues and some of the features, such as the push button, the side button that retracts the tip. So if you want something that's kind of a little bit different than your average ballpoint stick pen, something maybe a little bit better, and that does have above average comfort, smooth writing, and provides kind of darker and more vivid lines than your typical ballpoint pen, this is a good choice. It's a solid pen, and it does exactly what you expect it to do and exceeds expectations, in my opinion. Thanks for watching.